Hi everyone, and welcome to another great episode of MuscleKingz Lounge. I'm your host, Sean Davis. We have a great diversity of cars here today. Rob Phillips from PCH Rods is here with his '69 Camaro that's a stunning car. It's going to be a blast to walk through this car, take a look at the interior, the engine bay, get into the details of this car. Really looking forward to this. We also have Russ Taylor and his 2015 Z28, which is a street legal car, yet it's a fully track prepped car that he races in NASA and SCCA events. And our final guest of the day is going to be Rob Lindsay from RJ Fab. This is going to be a blast to walk through his '68 Plymouth Valiant, which is a full-blown pro street drag car. Yet this guy took the time and energy to put attention into the details, which is very rare in a drag car. The paint and body, the interior. It's a really exceptional car. We have some questions lined up from our followers, and we're ready to fire them away for you. And if we answer your question, you'll win a prize, because that's what this show's about. You, the fans and viewers, giving you the opportunity to get a closer look at some of these cars that we can only see typically as they fly by us on the freeway or on the track. Joining me today at the bar is a character and a half, Redneck. Bringing his sense of humor, also bringing his skills as a builder. And we've also got the extraordinarily hot Jackie, Bro Jack, but don't let her looks fool you, because she's a badass. She's a former Navy veteran. She'll kick your ass. We're also going to be trying something new this episode, and that's having John Henson of Curry Enterprises get the builders up, do a walk around of their car, and take you guys inside the details and what went into these builds. It's going to be a great episode, and we're glad you can join us. So now let's get going on what you've all been waiting for.
It's your favorite co-host, back to talk horsepower, crack jokes, and give you the lowdown on some of the great cars we have on set today.
We have some of your questions ready, so stay tuned. We're ready to pick our guests' brains and see what they know about their cars.
Till then, let's give it to our gracious hostess with the mostest, and you may recognize him as a previous guest on the show. His name is Sean.
Well, hello there. And we've got Steve Komlos from PCH. Yeah, bring it. We've got Steve Komlos from PCH Rods. They don't build fishing rods, by the way. No. They build actually really cool cars. And you guys see the clip of the '69 Camaro you guys brought. I'm a big pro touring resto mod guy. It's kind of where I live. We talked about your car a bit today, but I think it'd be fun to give everyone insight into. We'll talk about the build of the car, but I'm more interested in the beginning part of like what gets you guys wanting to build cars? What got you into wanting to be a builder and go through the nightmares you guys go through from time to time to do that?
The long hours.
Yeah, man.
No, I've always been into cars ever since I could remember, and basically any job I've ever had has been related to cars in some way. Right. And just recently, fairly recently, I've gotten more into building, the full projects and everything, and right. And this Camaro was basically one of the biggest first build that I've ever done. So. Yeah.
So this is the first like kind of big deal build you were a part of.
Mm-hmm. And that was and being a SEMA car was just, building it in the short time frame that we had, and being a SEMA car was a treat.
Yeah, man. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, you guys see the car. I mean, I'm kind of blown away right now that this is the first big one you guys did, because I mean the interior on the car is stunning, and that you guys did it all in-house. Interior, I think you said the only thing you didn't do was paint, correct?
Well, Stitch Corp actually did the interior, and the car came to us painted, but we did everything else.
Right.
So the car was essentially a painted shell when it showed up.
Right.
It had no suspension, no interior, no wiring, no plumbing, so it was a blank slate. So
Right.
a painted blank slate.
I think it's a beautiful car, man. I think it's a super stunning car. I think it'd be fun to, you know, we've got John Henson from Curry Enterprises to do a walkthrough of the car, because I'm you know, I'm not a super tech guy. John's a tech guy, man. So
No worries.
I think that's what we should do, is do a walkthrough of the car with John. Yeah.
No worries.
Cool.
Hey, John.
How's it going, Steven? Thanks for coming, man. This
No
car
problem.
is awesome.
Thank you.
What I really want to do is I want to start talking about the engine, because I
Okay.
know a lot of people are going to be curious to see what's under the hood.
Of course.
So let's go ahead and pop the
Sure.
hood and take a look.
No problem.
Now that is clean. So what do we have here? What are we looking at? What motor?
It is a GM Performance 525 horse LS3. Crate motor is essentially stock, except we put a cam in it, so it's a little bit over what that's rated at. Just for a little bit of sound, a little bit of performance over
Yep,
what it had.
I see a Holley EFI throttle body that's been put on the front here.
Yeah, it's got
And
full
then
Holley EFI.
Those valve covers are really nice. They hide the packs and everything. Who made those?
Those are a Ring Brothers valve cover. We actually kind of took their logo off and actually machined our logo in them, just to kind of make it our own.
And that is definitely not a stock serpentine kit. Whose magical work is that?
That is a Billet Specialties front drive.
Oh wow! So AC, everything, it just comes complete and bolts right on, right?
Absolutely bolted right in.
That's really neat. Now that is some suspension work too. So
absolutely.
is that a aftermarket subframe?
It is.
Okay. So whose is that?
It's a full Detroit Speed kit. It's actually Detroit Speed front to back. Their full front subframe. It's all C6 Corvette, uprights, their control arms, JRI shocks. It drives like it's on rails. So.
Okay, so it's a hydroform deal that Detroit Speed makes, right? So it's
Absolutely.
the tensile strength on that is super strong. So something like this is probably built for like pro touring, autocrossing.
Absolutely.
Okay, wow. Yeah, so if you're going to be doing some autocrossing, you probably have some really bitchin' shocks. You know what shocks you have on this?
It's a JRI setup.
JRI, so it's a JRI coilover?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's got coilovers front and rear.
So double adjustable, single adjustable? on
These
too?
are just single adjustable.
Okay,
So-
wow. Yeah, so you can dial in compression and get all
Absolutely.
that figured out.
Which
That's-
is more than enough for what this thing was going to do.
Okay.
So.
So this having that much power, you probably have a really good radiator. Is this a Be Cool or
It is an AFCO radiator.
AFCO radiator? So it's all aluminum, but it's been kind of everything in here has kind of been blacked out to kind of match the car.
It's
right?
actually ceramic coated, Cerakoted.
Oh, Cerakote. Okay, so Cerakote is a ceramic coat. If nobody knows what that exactly is, ceramic coat's really popular in the gun market, and it's been really popular in the automotive market now too. So it's a really thin coat, but it's super protective. And I'm going to guess that that's the same finish on all of the bumpers. And
Yeah, that's actually incorporated throughout the car. The intake manifold is Cerakoted, radiator Cerakoted, this trim piece. The bumpers, the grill, the bow tie in the grill is multiple colors Cerakoted. The wheels, just about everything. So
wow, okay. Well, let's talk about the wheels a little bit. I know a little thing or two about who you built this car for. Who's the owner?
this is Jose Moreno from Intro Wheels.
From Intro Wheels, so one of the
So
owners
hence the Intro Wheels.
Yes, exactly. So do you know what design wheel this is?
I don't remember the exact design off the top of my head, but
It looks like a mesh wheel. It looks
yeah.
really bitchin' for
It's
that
a mesh
pro touring
three-piece.
style.
Yeah, it's an
Okay.
18 by 10 front, 18 by 12 rear, so plenty of tire for this car.
Okay, yeah. And speaking of tires, what brand tires are you running?
They're BF Goodrich Rivals.
Okay, so that's a really sticky tire, I imagine, right? So
Absolutely.
if you're going to be out doing some autocrossing,
Oh, yeah.
that's a good tire to go with.
Absolutely.
So this looks like a three-piece wheel to me. Is that correct? And
Yep.
then so those bolts are actually function. They hold the wheel together, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So looking at those bolts a lot closer, they look like they're brushed ARP bolts. Is that correct?
That's correct. Every piece of ARP hardware on this whole car is stainless, and everything is brushed by hand. It was actually kind of fell upon it, as we were like, hey, let's test that out. Let's see how that looks. And if you look, all the heads of the bolts are all brushed. They're all clocked, so no matter where the wheel is, all the ARP logos are all
Wow,
facing the
that
same
sounds like
way.
a lot of hand time, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. So what
It's
happens
little
if,
stuff.
Yeah, what happens when you wash it and you scratch one of those guys?
Oh, no, they're fine.
It's all good.
Yeah, they're fine.
Wow. Wow.
We keep it pretty clean. So.
Yeah. So obviously with all this power and that sticky wheel and tire, you probably need a good brake to get this thing to slow down. What did you guys do for brakes?
It's bare, front and rear. 6-piston, front and rear, with our PCH Rods logo in the caliper. They're remaster cylinder, all stainless lines.
Yeah, Bear makes some really quality stuff, man. So
Absolutely.
That's a big quality decision when you're trying to slow down a car with this much power.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the interior.
Sure.
I noticed that it's obviously very custom. What did you guys change in the interior here?
Just about everything, because when we got this car, it had none of it. So it's Stitch Corp did the interior. It is all Bentley leather and Alcantara suede in the seats, the headliner. It's got Bentley carpet in it, custom center console.
Gauges, what'd you end up doing for gauge work?
Gauges is a Autometer LCD, which is awesome because you can put inputs for essentially everything you'd ever want to see in it. You can change through the different displays and everything. It's a fantastic piece. Let's see, what else?
How about, you kept a back seat in it, so everything seems to be fully functional. And
Oh, yeah.
You've got a center console and it looks functional with a push button start, is that correct?
That's a Ring Brothers push start on it, so it's no key in it, just touch the little pad on it.
Yeah, speaking of the
good
Ring
to go.
Brothers, I noticed a couple more of their pieces on here. Obviously, their hood hinges, which are, very much Ring Brothers with the relief cuts in it. But it looks like those are their pieces as well with the door handle.
That's
and
correct.
those are, they make a matching set, it looks like, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then for rear suspension, since I'm a rear end guy, what did you end up doing in the back?
It's got a Curry 9-inch, of course. But it's also Detroit Speed. It's their quadrillink 4-link setup, and also their mini tubs to clear those 335s. In the
Okay,
back.
so Detroit Speed mini tub, so that's what allows you to run the 12-inch wide wheel, right, with the 335 tire.
Exactly.
So did you order the rear end narrowed so that you can run that offset on the wheel? Is that how that works?
That's actually from Detroit Speed in their kit, set, ready to go.
Oh, really? Wow. So they make it almost cookie cutter, huh?
Just about,
Yeah.
just about.
So you guys put this car together rather quick. You said 3 months?
It was basically 3 months start to finish. It came to us as a painted car. So it was a painted shell, but it had nothing on it. No suspension, no interior, no wiring, no nothing. So
Wow.
it was a hustle, and we did it for the 2016 SEMA show.
Well, you guys did an amazing job, man. Thanks for bringing it out
Yeah,
today.
absolutely.
Really
Thank you.
appreciate it. Yep.
So I'm curious, you being the builder on the car, what's your favorite element of the car?
I like that it can be driven. That was the entire point of the whole build. It's not a show car, and it's not anything you couldn't jump in and go to the grocery store and pick up milk and bread with. So
Right. Now you told me a story earlier that I thought was super cool. Was that you guys completed the car, loaded up, trailer it. So the first time you fired is rolling it on the trailer.
we fired it up about 2 o'clock in the morning on the Monday. We rolled it into SEMA, drove directly to SEMA, and 10 o'clock rolled it into the booth. That was the first time the car had ever moved under its own power.
Which is super cool. But here's the part I like. This is rad, I think, is that at the end of SEMA, anyone that's ever been out there knows there's Optima Alley, all the cars that are about to run in the Optima Challenge. So this is a car that hasn't been run other than to run it on a trailer and off a trailer. What do you guys do at the end of SEMA?
We ended up getting a golden ticket at SEMA. So we were invited to the Optima Invitational, and we raced it that weekend, right after the show.
So never running the car, you have no idea if it's going to stop, if it's going to turn, if it's going to do anything it's supposed to do.
If we were going to shake it down, that was the time to do
That's
it.
a place to shake it down, man.
Yeah, Rob's wife, Brandy, actually drove it.
So cool. All right, well, I think what we need to do is toss it over to the bar and hear what Jackie and Mr. Redneck got in store for us.
What's up? By the way, beautiful car, and I was going to mention that, the time crunch you guys had. But you guys did do it clean, and I'm the same way when I build stuff. You test it, you just might as well put it to the test, see what fails. So I'm glad it worked out good.
That thing shocked me when you started it up and backed it up. I was like,
So we got a question here from Camaro family here that noticed that there was no roll cage. Are you going to autocross it, or are you going to strengthen the unibody or subframe alone?
It's got Detroit Speed subframe connectors in it now.
So it's already strengthened.
It's underneath. It's all strengthened.
Okay.
We chose not to cage it just because that's not what the customer wanted at first. But
Are they going to make you cage it if you guys do decide to race it, or are you going to be able to just run it how it is? And
as it is, it's perfectly capable for doing Optima. We raced it on the road course and autocrossed and speed stopped it just the way it is. So
that's awesome. And it's built nice. I mean, you got the fat and the fatties on it, which is nice. So that makes it nice with the traction on it. But it's a beautiful car. I do like the color scheme of it too.
thank you.
what does it run in? Do you know?
I'm sorry?
What is it like? What is its time?
I don't remember the times exactly at Optima, but it was still fairly competitive with a lot of cars that were out there. So.
Nice.
You guys did dyno the motor or no?
We didn't dyno the car, no.
No dyno.
But it's an LS3, right?
It's a 520 horse LS3 with a cam in
right.
it, so it's fairly stout for what it is.
Yeah.
Not extreme, but it's plenty for what that car is.
Yeah, definitely plenty for that car.
Yeah.
It looks clean the way you did it too.
Awesome,
All right,
man.
back to you guys.
Dude, thanks for coming and hanging with us, man, and bringing the car and you know, taking me for a ride in it earlier.
No
That was super cool.
No worries.
All right, you guys. Well, that's our buddy Steve hanging with us. So
No worries.
awesome, dude.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. So it never sucks driving a track prepped car down PCH, does it?
Yeah. And no interactions with the local PD, which is always a good one.
Which always makes it a lot better, right?
Yeah.
Especially in this part of town.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I'm curious, dude, what makes you go like, I'm gonna keep it street legal, right? Because typically what we would do is we'd go, yeah, I got my daily car, but then I've got my car that I'm gonna track prep, or it's, you know, it's purpose built, right?
Yep.
But this looks like it's purpose built, and yet you can motor around the streets.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a 100% dedicated track car for sure. With the benefit of having registration and go out and roll around, drive here, didn't have to trailer it because I'm just down in Orange County too, so it was nice.
I love it. I think it's just cool. So when you say fully track prep, like I read some of the details, but I think everybody would really get excited to get an idea of what that means.
Yeah, so I've got about a 10, 11 year history with the National Autosport Association, so
Right.
NASA.
Yep.
And previously we had a Mitsubishi Evo 10. I ran that for about 8 years, and
Cool.
head gaskets popping all over, motors getting blown out, and so I was kind of done with that just high tense motor, and we went to the Z28s. We've been running it now for 2 years, coming into our third season now, and obviously
And same motor.
Same
like
motor.
No rebuild, nothing.
The way the classification works for NASA is we're in their Super Touring series, and so it's a power to weight ratio. So actually it's the factory LS7. We really haven't touched much out of it, specifically because the power to weight, we have to keep that kind of range. So
Right. And so you're making, if I remember correctly, somewhere around 465 at the
465
wheel.
to the wheels.
And you gutted the car considerably, like a track car would be. So I know I have a ZL1, which is 3,900 pounds. I think the Z28's maybe a little bit heavier.
Yeah.
So what are you weighing now on that car?
Yeah, so it starts out about 3,950 was Z28 weight,
Right.
and this now is at 33 and change. So we took about 600 pounds, plus adding the cage, which, you know, it's a lot of weight.
So you got a lot more rigid in the car too,
Oh,
all
yeah.
the extra support.
We just did a big suspension overhaul, partnered with Olin's actually, did full coilovers all around their road and track system.
And fully adjustable.
Fully adjustable, single adjustable actually. It's just a road and track, but so we're going from that, from the factory setup, and we'll run those. But yeah, the handling on the car is just phenomenal.
Awesome, man. Yeah. And so I'm curious, what's the best you've done racing?
Well, last year, again, competing in the Super Touring Series, I took second place for the whole season, which was really exciting. With literally a stock Z28, stock suspension, stock motor, everything. We took second place for the whole season. And at the Western Nationals, which took place up at Thunderhill last year, we took third place. And so, you know, again, first season officially racing the car and coming out with podium finishes across the board. And we had podium finishes throughout the year as well. So this year, we're going to go for first place for the season, and then we're taking first place for the Nationals. It's combined, actually, Western and Eastern Nationals out at Circuit of the Americas, so we're stoked.
Oh, and that's such a great track, isn't it?
Have
you run there before?
I haven't, so I'm going to have to be watching a lot of videos
dude,
and
that's
getting
such
ready.
a fun track, dude. Oh, that's such a great track to run.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's time to pass it over to the crazy man Redneck and our hot Jackie. So please, take it away.
All right, we got Brazu Cav 8, a V8 or whatever it is. Badass build. If you could change anything or one thing on this car, what would it be?
Oh, man. I mean, honestly, the car is set up really well. I'd probably, I guess, wheels. We still have the factory wheels on there, so cut a couple pounds on the wheels and go there. That'd probably be the next thing we'd want to do.
We got American Muscle HD. What made you decide on the graphics?
The graphics. So my company, Fusion of Ideas, we do app development and iPad integrations for companies, and so kind of a technical and digital component. And if you look at the car, our crest, our Fusion crest, is like a hexagon, and that's just basically expanded out over the side of the car. So it's our company logo.
Yeah, it looks clean.
Kind
the
of
way
a
you guys did all the
Tron-esque,
graphics.
you
It
know,
didn't
like
look like a
Tron.
bunch of stickers just plastered all
Yeah,
over. It
thank
looks
you.
nice.
Now our next question comes from Turbo Jigsaw. What separates the Z28 from the ZL1 in your opinion?
Well, I mean, I think they're just two different purpose-built cars, right? The ZL1 being supercharged, a little bit different. Z28's more track-focused. Obviously, less power between the two, and for me, the Z28 was the choice because it's going to be a dedicated track car.
Well, it's manageable power.
Manageable
Too
power.
much
Don't have to
power
worry
on
about
track, and you'll be able
overheating.
to tell you, get you in a bind real quick.
Yeah, I actually have a C7 Corvette that we supercharged and cammed and the whole deal, 600 to the wheels, and that's always overheating, having problems. And so I'm glad with the Z28. I've got 2 years just beating it down, never overheats. Only thing I've had to change is tires, brakes, and gas. It's awesome.
Now, I go to Laguna Seca every year
Yeah.
for World Superbikes. We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
Now, how is that car coming down that corkscrew?
Incredible. Just flat out down the hill. I love it. That's one of my favorite courses.
That's just, I mean, on bikes it's iffy. You can still toss it, but on a car it just seems like,
it just drops in.
drops in.
compresses.
It'd be freaky.
We haven't run it yet with the new Olin setup, so I can only imagine how much better it's going to be now. But
That's going to be nice,
yeah.
dude. When you guys running up there next?
This season, we're just doing all the SoCal events, so the NASA SoCal, and then the Nationals out in Circuit of the Americas. So this year, we're actually not doing North, which it saddens my heart.
Well, you got to tease me now. I live up there, and now you're not going to go race up there?
They don't want to go next to you anymore.
All right, go squirrel fishing me at Laguna Seca.
There you go, man.
You're there for World Superbikes. I'll be there squirrel fishing.
I'm curious, Steve, you're a hardcore car guy, man. You're a tech guy. Any questions you have about his car or what he does with it?
What are your next plans for it?
Next plans, I mean, I think right now would be pulling out, factory ECU, all the harnesses, and then getting something like a dedicated system, because everything right now is all factory. So that's probably the next thing, just more weight, a little bit more tuning, things like that, because it's factory tuned still. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
very cool.
I had one more thing I forgot to ask Steve is on those rims we were talking about, you had to clock all the bolts on your rims. And somebody was asking, what wheels are those and what size?
They are intro wheels. The owner of the car, Jose, owns intro wheels, and they're 18 by 10 fronts and 18 by 12 in the back. 275 series front tire, 335 rear.
And you guys brushed every ARP bolt on that, and then you guys clocked them to where they all face the right way on the rim.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd have been tuned
details.
Speaking of details, man, I want to do a walkthrough of this car. I know John's the guy, John's the tech guy, but let's go take a walk through your car, man, and clue everybody in on the details for sure, man.
Yeah.
Russ,
John.
dude, I love this Camaro. I've been waiting to talk to you about it. The first thing that I've noticed about this car is all the carbon fiber on it. It's from the front to the hood to the rooftop. Tell me a little bit about putting all the carbon fiber on this car.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, we started out with this all Anderson Composites panels. So we got the dry carbon hood, roof, trunk. Everything's actually removed off the roof. We completely replaced it. We got the APR GTC 500 wing that's chassis mounted on the car with their side skirts, and then these nice fat canards up on the front here by Steve Christian Composites and their front splitter.
So almost everything is carbon fiber on this car. What's really left that's stock?
The last piece is really, I guess, the front and rear bumper, quarter panels, and wheels. I guess we can do the carbon fiber wheels at one point.
Oh, wow, yeah. So with all the carbon fiber, you've definitely trimmed a lot of the weight out of this thing, right? So when I think late model Camaro, I think heavy pig. This doesn't strike me as a heavy pig. So tell me, do you know how much this thing weighs?
Yeah, the Z28 off the showroom floor is it's a beast. It's about $39.50 to start.
Okay.
We've gotten this thing down to about 33 and change right now.
So that's race car weight.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
I mean, some of the cars that I'm experiencing out on the racetrack are 3,200 pounds, and
Yeah.
they're purpose-built race cars. So this is definitely purpose-built race car,
100%
right?
purpose-built. Bought it from the factory, got it in, went right out to a shop in Phil Mandela Racing, and just immediately turned it into a track car.
Okay, so power plant, is this LS7?
Yeah, so this is the LS7. No modifications to it right now because we run with National Auto Sport Association, and they've got a power weight ratio. And so this
So it's a spec series, right?
Spec series,
okay.
power to weight.
So basically, spec series stuff is, they're going to dictate what you can do and what you can modify and what you cannot modify, right?
Right.
So you have to run the stock motor in that, right?
Not necessarily stock motor, it's just all power to weight. So we could make some modifications, but we went with weight. We're running against a lot of BMWs, Evos, even some Porsches.
Oh, okay.
And those cars are so light, and so we focused on control and maneuverability on the vehicle first.
Okay, so you probably took some weight off of the front. Can we pop the hood and
Yeah,
see
let's
what's
do it.
underneath? Oh, wow. Okay. So immediately I'm kind of recognizing no inner fenders. Is that right? So
Yeah,
you pulled all of that out?
stripped all that off. We tried to get as much weight, obviously, off the front of the car as we could.
Okay. Anything else that you pulled out of here?
Just some of the other, basic plastic components, just all that unnecessary stuff. But windshield wipers are off, all the mechanism that's there.
Okay.
And yeah.
So I noticed, is that an aftermarket strut tower brace?
Factory strut tower brace.
Factory strut tower brace, but you've probably done a lot to the suspension of this car, though, right?
Suspension's really, again, when we went from weight, we now focused on suspension. Actually, Öhlins is one of our primary partners, and we've got their road and track coilovers on the car.
Okay.
Just put those on in December, actually, and started running in a significant difference over the factory suspension. So it's huge.
So adjustable coilovers probably front and rear,
Front and
right?
rear.
So you're adjusting rebound and everything so that you can basically get this thing running on the track correct, right?
These are single adjustable, so there's not as much maybe as a fully adjustable system, but it's enough for what we're doing, especially compared to the factory system. It's
Öhlins
huge.
makes a very quality race shock.
Yeah,
so,
they're phenomenal. And then in addition to that, we've got Ride Tech lower control arms in the rear, gives us a little bit more adjustability.
Fully adjustable, right?
Fully adjustable.
What does that allow you to adjust in? Are you adjusting camber and
camber and
toe?
And toe.
I'm so jealous because I'm used to a solid axle car and the early muscle car stuff, guys. So this is fully independent, which allows him to adjust camber and everything on the back so that he can get this thing super dialed in for autocrossing and road racing, right?
Yeah, and actually Roby Spec is a big Evo guy. I had an Evo 10 originally, and so he did all my stuff. We were out just a week ago at Willow Springs, and we actually pulled off the rear sway bar. So a lot of guys might give some hassle for that, but we actually found it's a lot better response. Reduces a lot of the oversteer and things like that. It was actually better setup on the car overall.
Well, speaking about the way this thing responds on the track, the wheel and tire combination, this is a factory wheel that came on this car, right?
Yep.
And what are you doing for tires?
So right now we've got the R888s. We were able to go out with the guys a little bit earlier and make sure that we could send these off on a proper burial.
Oh,
so,
okay.
So
this is the burnout
These
set.
are the burnout set.
Okay, got it.
But typically we run the Pirelli P0 slicks, and so that's inside the NASA class. We can run those. It gives us a little bit of points, but it's worth it.
So super sticky tire is really what that is. So there's no real tread wear rating on that.
Nope.
That is a race course only tire, correct?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what's awesome about that series.
Yeah,
I
they're
love
incredible.
That. Yep. So interior-wise, you've probably ripped out everything, I would imagine, right?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe we should walk around and take a look at the interior. Let's probably want to head on this way.
Yeah.
Yep. A little bit better light this way. So right away, what I'm noticing is there's nothing in it.
Nothing in it. Yep.
So you've got a race seat, you've got a race steering wheel, and a shifter, and everything else is out of it, right?
Yeah, any non-essential has been removed from the car. We purchased the non-AC'd version and non-stereo version of the Z28, which is an option that you can buy, so that we didn't have to worry about running lines and all that stuff on the AC. Pulled out the heater core, ripped everything out as the interior, and yeah, we're just left with essentially the most essential pieces.
Yeah.
We've got the race pack system, their IQ3, and that's huge for driving. You got these sausage patties of hands of, blocking the cluster.
With the race pack cluster, basically what that's doing is communicating all the vitals to you, the driver, right? So tell me a little bit more about the race pack and how is that working in collaboration with the factory cluster?
Yeah, so I mean, the factory cluster's still fully functional, and we use it every now and then, but again, it's tough for the big sausage patty hands in front of that and blocking it out. The race pack is such a significant piece because it's right there, off center, peripheral vision, and it's got the RPM light range, so you can actually see, you know, shifting, things like that. And it
Huge
shows,
benefit.
oh yeah, it's significant.
Yeah,
so.
significant. And then the shifter is awesome. Now I notice it's an extended shifter.
Yep.
That must be so that you have quick back and forth to the steering wheel. Am I correct?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
The Z28 comes with a short shift system, and then we've just added on the long extension on there. So.
Yeah. Well, speaking of long, let's talk about this rear spoiler here. Now,
Yeah.
a lot of muscle car guys are a little bit, it's got a big gigantic spoiler on it, but I'm gonna guess that you're pretty doing excess speeds of what, 120, 130 in this car?
Easily, yeah. I mean, we run primarily in Southern California tracks, which are typically a lot of high-speed tracks, Willow Springs, Fontana,
Yep.
buck 40, buck 65, 70, things like that. You know, the Roval at Auto Club Speedway is 165 coming in turn one, and so this is a huge difference from APR's their wing that they got. From the factory, the Z20 has a nice little lip spoiler.
Yeah.
Looks clean and actually has some good function to it.
Yep.
And we ran that for the first couple months, and it was good. Then when we put this on, significant difference with just compression, overall feel of the car, everything.
So fully functional.
Yep,
is
it's
really
adjustable.
What we're talking about
fully
here.
functional. Yeah, some of
Yep.
these guys, the Camaro guys, might be hating, but when we're out on the track racing, that makes a significant difference. Just car control, compression, overall, getting in and out of corners.
Yep. Yeah. And speaking about control, I noticed these brakes are
Yes.
big bad boy ceramic rotors. Tell me a little bit about the brakes.
Yeah, so the Z28 comes with incredible brakes to start, right? This carbon ceramic Brembos.
Yep.
We actually have partnered with Racing Brake. They're actually out of here in Southern California. It's a two-piece forged caliper, and we were running their sintered metallic pads. And so the benefit that they claim, and I've seen personally, is the sintered metallic actually puts a surface on the carbon ceramic rotor. So this will be coming into our third season with the OEM or factory rotor.
Yeah.
So big,
so you
big
noticed a
jump.
big difference from going from the factory caliper to
Yep.
this caliper.
Yeah,
then,
we got a little bit lighter on the caliper, so
Yep.
weight corner, in the corners huge, and then on top of that, the pad is actually adding to the life of the rotor.
Yep.
But the bite is where it's at. I mean, I feel like there's probably a 30%, 40% difference in braking capability over the factory system and then just the factory pads.
Well, Russ, man, I wanted to tell you I love this car. I want to watch it on your Instagram. I
Yeah.
want to watch it running around on the track. Thanks so much for bringing it out for
Definitely.
MuscleKingz today,
Thank you,
man.
John.
Yeah,
Appreciate
absolutely.
it. All right.
Hey, so I know you said that on here, like that your family's all into it, but how are you getting your son and your daughter into it?
Yeah, so about once a year, actually on the back of the car, there's sponsored by my wife. So that's kudos to her.
I saw that. That's
she deals with my addiction. So
That's a good way not to get kicked out of the house. Admit defeat and you get permission. That's
credit where credit's due. Yeah, so and my kids are awesome. My son's Nixon, he's 6, and my daughter Penelope, she's 4. And they're like so into it. They'll come. We have a lift at my office. They'll come work on the car with me. And my son comes out actually next weekend. We have our first race of the season, so he's going to be my crew chief and help me with gas and changing the tires and the whole thing. So it's fun. It's a good time.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
I got a 9-year-old does the same thing. He's the only. My other son's going to be an engineer, but this one's he's a gearhead like me. So the shop with no shirt, jeans on, wrenching on whatever he can get him, fixing all the kids' bikes, working on fork stuff. So
That's
it's
awesome.
good to have him interested in it.
It's
It
so
makes,
fun.
It makes it fun.
Yeah. And it's important to teach these kids some good skills.
Yeah, it is. It's very, you got to pass something down. I got it from my dad, and it passed down to generation to generation. Just kind of keep it alive.
Yep.
A lot of people are losing that nowadays.
That's true. That's true.
Super cool, man. Well, dude, thanks for coming and hanging out with us and bringing your car.
Yeah.
Street driving it here, man. I love that, dude. I just think that's cool. I really do, man.
Awesome.
Cool, man. Well, along with being the host of the MuscleKingz show, I do a YouTube channel, and on the YouTube channel, we drive lots of cool cars. I've had the pleasure recently to take the SpeedCore Tantrum Charger out for a rip. I was actually told by the builder that the car was smoking a bit and it needed to be blown out.
Oh yeah, got to clear it out.
And a 1,350 horsepower Charger getting on the 210 freeway. It's amazing the burnout it does at about 100 miles an hour, shifting from second into third. It kicked, it squatted. You guys will check out this clip and you'll get an idea. This is such a bitchin' car. I love it. remember, you guys, I would love nothing more. I'm sure you guys are going, come on, man. Come on, man. You got to remember, guys, this car is over $600,000. Over $600,000. That was 4,500 RPMs where it broke loose. I'm feeling it at 4,500 RPMs at 70 miles an hour, it breaks loose. All right, you guys, so that is the Tantrum Charger from the guys at Speedcore. What do you think? Yeah, pretty badass, right? You've seen the details on it. I've talked you through the power that this thing makes. Ridiculous amounts of power, and I'm barely touching the accelerator on this, and it just wants to light up and go. The car's just spectacular, as all the things from the guys at Speedcore. A big thanks to those guys for always letting me take care of their cars and letting me drive them. I appreciate it, man. All right, you guys, so that should give you a sense of what my Autotopia LA channel is about. If you want to see more of Tantrum Charger, go check it out on my channel.
Hell yeah.
Subscribe.
Cool. So next up, I'm super stoked. This is gonna be fun, man. We got Rob Lindsay of RJ Fab. First, we're gonna show you a clip of rolling around town. You're gonna see a gigantic smile on my face because it's the first time I've ever rolled around in a pro street car doing burnouts. It was really awesome. So you guys, this is my new buddy, Rob Lindsay. Hey everybody, this is Rob Lindsay of RJ Fab. Dude.
Good to see you. Good to be here. Thanks.
So I had a blast today rolling around in this car with you. It was
fun.
It was really super cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it pulls hard. You know, I'm always curious because I'm not a builder, so I'm always curious what it is that drives you. Like, what got you going? What made you go somewhere along the way? I could have been a plumber, but I decided to build cars.
Probably just my passion for cars when I was young. So I built my first pro street car for myself in 1992. And I think it hit the streets like late 93, and driving it around, people asked me if I could do certain things for them. And I just started building cars for people just through that.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, and this car, as I understand, from what you were telling me earlier, although it's yours now, it was built originally for somebody else.
Yeah, I built it in 2009 for a customer in San Diego, and then probably, I think he raced it till 2013, 14, and he just was done racing, so he offered me, you know, to purchase the car back, and so I said, yeah, what the heck, I'll buy it. Yeah.
Awesome. So this is another one where I got to admit, it's kind of interesting to me that this thing's actually street legal.
Vaguely, barely.
Right. I mean, enough to that at least somehow somebody thought it was a good idea to give you a license plate and registration for this
Well,
thing.
being a 68, you know, you don't have to follow all the California smog laws. That helps a little bit. Yeah.
Right.
And then, you know, it's licensed, registered, and insured, so it's loosely street legal.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, you don't want to drive it a ton on the street. It's loud and obnoxious, and you can't talk. You and I barely could talk to each other.
Oh my God, it was so funny. We're yelling. The camera truck's like, you know, watching us. My buddy Chris is in the truck with them, and all you could see was like me, like this in his face, and I'm yelling as loud as I can, and all we were doing was trying to have a conversation.
Yeah, it's loud.
It's loud, man.
That's part of the fun of it, though, I think.
That is the fun, the heartbeat of it.
Yeah.
You know, the other thing, I don't know if you guys looked into it at all, but what's really a trip about what he does is, typically builders stick with, there's a lane they're going down, right? Like I'm buddies with a lot of builders that they build pro touring or restos, or they do just, whatever it might be. They have their lane they go down. Mm-hmm. But I was looking at your Instagram, which I highly recommend you guys go check this out.
Definitely.
There's a pro street drag car on here, the Valiant. But then there's also these like crazy rock crawlers, total off-road vehicles. It's like you're kind of all over the place.
Yeah, we like to do a lot of different things. It just kind of keeps us on our toes, It's really cool to exercise your ideas on a bunch of different, different things.
But I'm sure you guys got questions too, right? Like
well,
how do you successfully build a pro street car and also build a rock crawler? Like,
well, I've seen all the fabrics, same thing. I checked out his Instagram. He's got everything. I mean, it's like a toy land for me.
Yeah.
Because I do the off-road and street and everything else. But it's the same thing, when you're a mechanic and you're skilled at your stuff, you can bounce from project to project. Someday you get tired of doing street and you want to do off-road. Sometimes you want to go play in the dirt, you want to play street, so you build all the toys. But the way he fabricates everything, once you have the skill to do all that, it's just a matter of putting the geometry together for the next car or whatever you're building. Once you got it for a car, you can get the geometry and everything for the suspension for your off-road trucks. UTVs, all that stuff. So he's got the skill set and how to do it and figure it out and design everything. Welding skill he definitely has. So, once he can fabricate it, he can build whatever he has because he understands how it all works.
Right.
And you just got to put it into play from an off-road vehicle to a street vehicle, and then what suspension works with what. And then it's like a mechanic's dream. You get to play with high-end parts and make shit cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's just,
It's
a bunch
fun,
of different
for sure.
ideas and you get to play with it,
Yeah.
You get bored as a mechanic. Most of them are ADD anyway, so something shiny, you're already across the shop, sidetracked. So
Yeah. How about you guys? You guys got any questions for our buddy Rob here?
Well, I got some here. What gears are you running in it?
456.
Fastest quarter mile time?
It's gone 9:55 at 140 at Fontana.
How much horsepower?
Shady Dale Speed Shop. On their dyno, they built the engine. I think it made 693 horsepower. Can't remember the torque. And that was without the vacuum pump and the correct set of headers. So I'm going to guess it probably makes on the engine about 715.
What headers do you have on it now?
Custom ones that I built. And then I've just recently added a nitrous oxide system to it. So hopefully, I'm being optimistic here, but hopefully it'll run 850s next time out.
Have you played with that yet?
No, not yet.
You're going to have to send us the video.
Yeah, oh, for sure, I will.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome, man. Well, I think, I know everyone's interested. I'm certainly interested in doing a walkthrough of this thing. And this one, we're going to have John come out because this is a serious tech car. There's a lot, although it's a simple build. It's actually pretty simple, but there's a lot going on here. So I think we should have John from Curry come out and do a walkthrough with you.
Sure, excellent, yeah.
Rocking, man.
Yeah.
Rob, man, thank you so much for bringing this
You
car
bet,
out
John.
here. This
Heck
thing
yeah.
is awesome, dude.
Pleasure to be here.
And a Mopar.
Yeah.
Nonetheless. Now, I
Yeah.
know Rob from, we do business back at Curry, so this is a little different, right? You're not really a Mopar guy, but you knocked it out of the park on this car.
Thanks, man. Thank
yeah,
you.
absolutely. So I can already tell that it's pretty much a full tube chassis car, I'm going to guess. Is that correct?
Yeah, from your feet back, it's tube chassis, and then we did an altercation K-member kit in the front end.
Okay, so basically a K-member, basically the whole bottom end
it just
drops off.
bolts
So
on
you can
the
pull the
4
motor
bolts,
and
yeah.
everything down and
Yep.
just replace everything back up. And then from the firewall back, everything is
Yeah,
tube chassis?
from the firewall back.
Okay.
All the floor's done to 750 cert, but the rest of the cage is 850. So that way, if we wanted to update the cert, we don't have to go into the floor.
Yeah, so basically what that means, guys, is just with some minor modifications, this car could go 750 in a quarter mile, but it's certified for 850 now. So this car could probably definitely do that now, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, the chassis works exceptionally well, so we could probably throw another 600 or 700 horsepower to it, and it'll handle it.
Okay, so drag car suspension is totally different than like your street car stuff. It's not like your pro touring car with your typical type of coilovers. So tell me a little bit more about how do you dial this car in as far as going on the drag race?
Well, you just plot your instant center to the CG of the vehicle. So there's plot charts for that, so that you can
Okay.
set it up for the weight of the vehicle after you scale the car. So
Yeah.
And then shocks comes down to shock tuning, just like most any performance vehicle. We have AFCO shocks on this, double adjustables, which really helps the rebound and compression so that the car leaves correctly.
Okay, so I know Mopar, big block, small block. I know this thing's got big cubic inches. What do you got going on here, man?
Okay, so it's a small block, a big small block. It's 451 cubic inch R3 block. Has Indy cylinder heads and intake manifold. The headers I built, Dominator carb. Shady Dell Speed Shop built the engine, so I don't remember the exact specs on the cam, but it's like around the 278, 280 at 50 thousandths with like 720 lift.
This thing sounds wicked when you start it up.
Yeah,
man.
it's
Just the
pretty
idle is
radical.
Amazing. It shakes the floor. And
Yeah.
So what do you have for exhaust after the headers that you made?
Actually, when I built the car for the customer as a drag car, it was open header the whole time he had it. But since I wanted to put it on the street, I went ahead and did an exhaust system. Has 3.5 inch XR1 Borla race mufflers.
Borla.
And then, I'm sorry, 4 inch. So it's 4 inch all the way out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, Borla's got that very unique sound. This
Yes,
car
they
definitely
do.
has
Yeah.
a very unique sound. Now the interior is fully custom, right? You guys did everything on this one.
Yeah, we like to get creative with our tin work, and so it's just important for it to look super clean and nice. So all the tin comes out, all Zeus fastens out, except for the floor under the driver's steel. Everything's powder coated. So
Really?
it's-
Really?
yeah,
I want to
just
take a look real quick. Let's take a
Sure.
look. So 2 Kirky seats. And you've got the Momo steering wheel. Now, did you fab up the base on that shifter there? It
No,
looks like it's tilted towards the driver. Obviously, that's for you know,
Yes,
snapping
we
the gears.
actually fit every car that we build to that particular customer, that driver. So it was fit for Bill, super comfortable for me. So, but that's just how he wanted it, and it's comfortable for just probably anybody that can get in it. You know, it's. It only had one seat when we built it originally, so I put the Bill's seat on the other side and put the seat. Bill was a little bit bigger than me. So.
Now you did all the tin work on the floor. Did you say you powder coated all those panels?
Yeah, all the panels got powder coated and then riveted. The floor's riveted in on this side, and then everything else is fastened. So, but the wheel tubs come out, the center between the wheel tubs come out, the whole passenger floor comes out.
Yeah.
Just makes it easier to work on the car if you need to get that deep into it while you're working on it.
Yep, absolutely. Now, what are you running for a back tire? I see the Mickey Thompson logo, so this is obviously a real crinkle wall sticky tire.
Yeah,
here,
it's the ET Street, so it's the DOT version of their drag slick.
Okay.
So it's a 32, 17, 515, and then when we run a regular drag slick on it, it's a 32, 14, 515. But both of them have 14.5 inches of tread width.
Wow, and for wheels, probably something super light, I'm gonna guess. Those welds that I see?
Yep, we have welds on it. I think they're 14 wide, 15s.
Wow.
Yeah,
bitch. And then for rear end, what you got going on, man?
So, I know you're not going to like to hear this, but we have the M60 Mosier in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Mosier 40 spine
They make
axles.
a quality product. That was before you and I had a
Yeah, it was.
relationship.
You're
That's
right, it
okay.
was. It was
And I'm
before
sure it obviously works real well. You're running 8.5 on this. This car is amazing. So thanks a lot for bringing it out, man. Thanks for talking with me about it.
Pleasure.
Really appreciate it,
Awesome.
dude.
Yeah.
So I got one more question for you, which is typically, almost always, you can bank on it. A pro street car is never pretty. They're just not typically,
Not usually.
right? Not usually.
Yeah, not usually. They're pretty banged up from, racing them.
But I don't mean just the exterior. I mean, but the interior. Like I sat in the cockpit of this car today, and it kind of blew my mind how clean it was. Like it didn't look ratty. I mean, your shifter's so badass on that thing. The floor is just sick on it, dude. I mean, what prompted you to like go the extra mile?
The one thing about these kind of cars is you don't need a lot of amenities being a race car.
Right.
So we just have the bare minimum as far as gauges, the bare minimum as far as what we need for interior.
Yeah.
So it's kind of easy just to do a clean platform where you just do regular flat floor panels, powder coat everything. I do snap-in carpets and all my race car type stuff so that your feet aren't scratching up the floor and slipping around on it. And
Right.
I think sometimes simple is more. So if we just keep it simple and just powder coat stuff and just make it clean, it just seems, people seem to accept it. It seems like it works pretty well.
Yeah. Well, I think it's great, dude. I think it's just such a super cool car. So I'm going to throw it back over to the hot one and the crazy one to,
I'm the hot one.
I think they've got,
I'm the crazy
obviously, we all know that. Come on.
All right, fans and followers, we do have the MuscleKingz car show and concert series coming up on
March 31st.
in Goodyear, Arizona.
Buy your tickets now at MuscleKingz.com.
Join everyone there.
It'll be a fun time.
Do it.
Now, do it.
Love it. That is going to be cool. I can't wait. I'm super psyched. I'm going to be there. And we're going to be there with Vicious Stang, man. It's going to kill. Got to say thanks to you guys all for coming out, man. I know, you know, it takes some time and energy. You got to trailer a car, you got to drive a crazy ass car through the streets. Yeah, serious though, man. It's really cool. I mean, this whole, I think the whole concept of what this show is great. It gives people an inside view of what it takes to build and the passion and the enthusiasm. I
agree, yeah.
And thanks to the hot and the crazy co-host.
I'm not gonna lie, when you started that car up, I was like, you need to do that again. Do it again, please.
Yeah, totally.
It has a good effect on people. It's
yeah.
good, yeah.
Well, you can't replace the old American muscle sound. I mean, the newer cars, the newer motors, they have that, but that rumble and that lope is just, it's nostalgic for that. You know, being a kid, listening to that at the drag strips, or your neighbor has got a badass car built, and you hear that lope, and you feel your heartbeat changing.
It's what it
Nothing can replace that and the smell of race fuel. It's the best cologne you're gonna wear.
I agree, yeah.
And you built it, so you're still so excited about it, which makes it
No,
even better.
yeah, it's a cool car. I like it a lot, yeah.
Well, my final thank you is thanking every one of you guys for hanging out and watching. Tell all your friends, spread the news. MuscleKingz is here showing you some really super cool stuff. We're gonna take you inside car after car after car and the passion and enthusiasm that it takes to build these things. So all I gotta say at this point is we'll see you guys next time. Later. Yeah, man.
The sun still rises every day, and tides always change. Doesn't make us all the same. Who cares if you're safe? 1,000 pounds of dead air. Try, you try to wash it down with holy word and love.